A good moyed, everyone. Tonight we just counted the fifth day, Yutes Chaf Nisan, I'm sorry. So we're gonna learn now Sotah Daf Hey. We left off last time on Daf Hey Amud Aleph on the third line from the top. The second word on the line, Azhara Legase Harua. We're in the middle of talking about the detriment of arrogance, the midah of Gaiva, Gasus Haruach. And we spoke about it last time, and we're going to continue now. And where do we find in the Tanakh a prohibition to be arrogant? So Amar Rava, Amar Zeiri, Rava said in the name of Zeiri, a pasuk in Yirmiyah, Shimu v'hazinu, listen and hearken, al tikbohu, do not be haughty, do not raise yourselves up. Okay, Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, Amar Rav Nachman, the son of Yitzchak said, Mehocha, from here, pasuk in Parshas Eiken, your heart will be high, will be haughty, and you're going to forget the Eibishter. And then we have another pasuk in Parashas Eikev that says, that you're not allowed to forget Hashem. Be careful that you shouldn't forget Hashem, your God. And like Rabbi Oven said it, Amar Rabbi Lah, in the name of Rabbi Lah, to Amar Rabbi Lah, that he said in the name of Rabbi Lah, Kol Makom Shnamar, Hishamer, Pen Ve'al, any place in the Torah that the word either Hishamer, to be careful, or Pen, which means less, or Al, which means do not. In Ela B'leisa said the Torah is coming to teach you a prohibition. So the word Hishamer, to guard yourself from doing something, and Pen, right? You have Hishamer and Pen over there. They both mean that this is an Avera to forget Hashem, and forgetting Hashem comes through arrogance. Okay. Darash Rav Avira, Darshan, Zimnan, Amar Lamishmei Rav Asi, Zimnan, Amar Lamishmei Rav Ami. Sometimes he would say this Drash in the name of Rav Ami. Sometimes he would say this Drash in the name of Rav Asi. Call Adam Sheyesh Bei Gasas HaRuach, any person that has arrogance, Gasas HaRuach, L'soif, in the end, Mismayit, he's going to be depleted, he's going to be denigrated. Shnemar, like it says in the pasuk, and this pasuk in Eov, we're going to dash in this pasuk, so let's just say the full pasuk. Reimu ma'at, v'humchu kakol yikaftzun, v'chirosh yibolis yimolon. Right, so that's the pasuk. We're going to go through the pasuk. So it starts Reimu Ma'at. Reimu, which means those that are picked up, that are haughty. Ma'at, they're gonna be denigrated, they're gonna go down. And then so now it just says they're gonna go down. That's what it says in the pasuk. So you might think that they still stay in this world, they still exist. So Talmud Leimar, the pasuk continues, Ve'inenu, and they are totally gone. Ve'im chayzer, and if he's gonna do tshuva, Nesaf Bismanik Avram Avinu, he's going to be forgiven and he's going to die at the proper time, at the time that was predestined for him, like Avram Avinu. Like it says in the pasuk, "V'humchu kakol yikaftzun," and when they're lowered down, they're going to be gathered together. They're going to be gathered up, which is the euphemism for death, as all of them. Kakoil, and what's this word? Kakoil, Avram Yitzchak v'Yaakov, like Avram Yitzchak ben Yaakov. That it says about Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov, about the Avos, Bakoil, Mikoil, Koil. About Avram Avinu, it says the word Bakoil in everything. It says Hashem Berach Avram Bakoil. Hashem blessed Avram with everything. Mikoil, it says about Yitzchak, when Yitzchak was talking to Esav after Yaakov stole the brachas, he said, "Me who atzad sayid vayoveli, who's this one that brought me the hunt va'oichal Mikoil, and I ate from all of it." So you have the word Mikoil, and the word Koil. Yaakov says to Esav, "Yeshli Koil, I have everything." So Bakoil, Mikoil, Koil means the avos. So humchu kakoil, they're going to be kakoil yikaf, so they're going to be gathered together like Koil. That is saying that they're going to die at the proper time, like the Avos died at a ripe old age. The Imlav, and then the pasuk continues, if he doesn't do tshuva, and they're going to be withered, they're going to wither away like the head of a stalk. So what's this head of the stalk? So Ravuna of Rav Chisda, we have Machlekes Ravuna of Rav Chisda. Tadamar, one of them says Kisasa Dishibolta, it's like the beard of the stalk. So you have on a stalk of wheat, you have a little piece of chaff on the top that looks a little bit like a beard. And that is the wind blows it away very easily. So they're going to be blown away like that little chaff from the wheat. Chadamar, and another opinion says Kishibelis Atzma, like the actual stalk of the wheat. Ukireshi Belis Yimolot is talking about the stalk itself. So Bishlam Damar Kisasa Dishibolta. Pasuk that says the head of the stalk, they're going to be withered away like the head of the stalk. It makes sense to say that it means the top of the stalk, because that's the part that withers away. And it says, the head of the stalk. The opinion who says that it's the actual stalk, why would the pasuk say the head of the stalk? The pasuk should say the stalk. So Ravasi says, and also this was taught in the yeshiva of Rabbi Yishmael, Mashal Adam, we have a mashal to a person shenichnas l'seich sadeu who goes into his field. Gavoya who milake to the stalks that are on the top. That's the ones that he takes away. He takes them away first, and he discards them. So too, these balei gaiva, if they don't do tshuva, they're gonna be uprooted. They're gonna be withering away like these heads of the stalks. So the Ben Yoda, we learned the Ben Yoda before Pesach. We learned remember, I think Daf Kuvav about Reb Nachman ben Simoy ben Shal Kedeshim about not looking at the coins. So we've learned from the Ben Yoda before, Reb Yosef Chaim from Baghdad. So he says like this. He asks, "That's not true. A person goes into a field, he takes off the top of the stalks. What's going on? When you have vegetables, so vegetables are growing together in the ground. You take the ones on the top because it means that they're ripe. But by wheat, people just chop it down. No matter if they're the ones that are on the top and the bottom, they just chop it all down together. So what's the Gemara trying to say?" So he gives another mashal. He says that there's a mashal of a father and a son that are walking through a field, and it doesn't mean wheat that are growing on the top. It means that you have some wheat that, since they have a lot of kernels and they're very heavy, so the stalks they bend over. And you can see this in fields. They bend over a little bit, or they bend down a lot. The heavier the stalk is, the lower down it bends. Then you have stalks that the wheat on it is not good. It's spoiled wheat. So it's straight up. It's up straight because it's not heavy. It's blown out wheat. So the son asks the father. He says, why are these stalks low and these stalks are tall? So he says, because the ones that have a lot of wheat are heavier. So he says, so too by people. Someone who has a lot of Torah and he has good midos, and he's a person who's got a lot of toichin to him. So they're usually the ones that are bent down, the ones that are anavim, and they're humble, and the ones that are sticking out on top, the ones that are the tallest stalks of wheat, the ones that are the haughty ones are the ones that are really empty, that they don't have really anything to boost them. That's why the only direction that they could go is up, right? Because all around them the stalks are bent down. They grow up because they're so light, so they're so haughty. That's why people that are haughty, it's really they're compensating for being empty people. Okay, next. V'asdako u'shval ruach. A new pasuk. The pasuk in Yeshaya. This is Yeshaya Perek Nun Zayin. We learned this to Haftarah on Yom Kippur in the morning. V'asdako u'shval ruach. We're gonna learn this pasuk. Yeah, well, we'll see other parts of the pasuk later. But the Torah says like this: V'asdako u'shval ruach. The one that's crushed and of a low spirit, someone who's humble. So Rav Huna v'Rav Chisda, machlokes Rav Huna and Rav Chisda. Chadamar, one teaches the pasuk, iti daka. That the daka, that the crushed one is with me. That Hashem says, someone who's crushed, someone who has someone who's humble, I bring him up to me. Iti daka. The chadamar ani es daka, and the other one says that I go down to the daka, I go down to the crushed one. And it makes more sense to say like the one that says ani es daka, that Hashem lowers himself down to the daka. Hashem left all the mountains and the valleys. And he rested his Shekhinah on Har Sinai. And Har Sinai was not the tallest, was not from the tallest mountains, right? That's another Gemara, I think, in Shabbos, right, where it has the details of the story. So Har Sinai was the low mountain, and Hashem went to the lowest mountain. And bringing again from the Ben Yoda, Ben Yoda says that he brings in the pasuk over here from David HaMelech, Esa inay el harim, that David HaMelech says, I lift my eyes to the mountains, I look around at all the tall mountains, and I see that all these tall, famous mountains, Hashem didn't give the Torah on these mountains. Who did Hashem give the Torah on? He gave it on Har Sinai. So David HaMelech realizes that may ayin yavai ezri, from ayin, which David is asking, from where will my help come? And then he continues ezri may Hashem, but he's teaching that may ayin could also mean nothing, bittul, that my help for all good in this world comes from bittul, from being humble like Har Sinai, being low down, and that's how you're zeichet to receive the Torah. Okay, Rav Yosef said like this: every person should learn from the Eibishter, from his creator. Hashem left all the mountains and all the valleys. And he rested his Shekhinah on Har Sinai. And not only that, he left all of the good trees. And he rested his Shekhinah in the sneh, which was a thorn bush. Right? So it's the least chashuv of the trees, the lowest one of all the because Hashem rests with the lowest one, and like we were saying that Hashem lowers himself down to rest in the to rest with the humble people. So we say in Hallel, we're saying these days that we're saying that Hashem lowers himself down into this world. This is the whole the whole Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, that everything in this world is hashgacha pratis, that Hashem lowers himself down and he's involved in every detail of creation, even things that it doesn't look like they're so important. It's really divine providence, and also it's a good lesson for a person when a person is feeling alone and feeling abandoned in this world, feeling like he's feeling that he's in a very dark place in life. He should know that Hashem is Vezdaka Shvar Ruach Hashka, and that Hashem lowers himself down. Ani Ezdaka, I lower down to the crushed ones, to the humble ones, and Hashem is with you in that situation. Okay. Amar Rabbi Lazar said like this: Kol adam sheish begasas ruach, any person that has arrogance, roy legada oika ashera. It's befitting to uproot him like a ashera tree. An ashera tree is a tree for avodah zarah. Tzivhacha, it says in the pasuk in Yeshaya, we're going to read this after around until Pesach. It's talking about how Hashem is going to punish Ashur, the nation that destroyed the Jewish nation. They exiled the 10 northern tribes and they almost destroyed Yehuda. So it says until Hashem made the miracle on the night of Pesach and he saved Yerushalayim. But the pasuk says about them, those that are high up, the ones that are haughty up there, Geduim, they're going to be uprooted. Uksiv Hasam, and it says in another pasuk in Parshas Ekev, that you should uproot their Asherah trees. So you have uprooting by Asherah, by haughty. So we connect that and they should be uprooted like an Asherah tree. The Amar Rabbi Lazar said also, any person that is arrogant, ein afare ninar, his dust after he dies will not stir, meaning he's not gonna come up for Tchias HaMesim. Shnamar, like it says in the pasuk in Yeshaya also in Perek Chavav, Hakitu v'rananu sheichnei afar, get up, and Hakitu means wake up, v'rananu, and sing and praise sheichnei afar, O dwellers of the dust, meaning that the dead people are gonna wake up when Mashiach comes. So Sheikh Be'afar Le'namar doesn't say those that are lying in the dust, which would just mean dead people. Ela Sheikh Ne'afar, those that are neighbors to the dust. Misha Nasa Shachin La'afar B'chayav, someone who in his lifetime was a neighbor to the dust, meaning that he was humble, low down like the dust, and he was meaning that he was neighbors with the dust, that he was low like the dust, that he was a humble person. He will be revived when Mashiach comes. Rabbi Lazar says another thing. Any person that has arrogance, the Shechina cries for him. The Shechina weeps for him. Shenamar, like it says in the pasuk, v'gavoya, and someone who's high up, the Eibishter wails for him from afar. We're going to see why in a minute. Why it has to be from afar. Darash Rav Avira Darshan v'itema Rabbi Lazar. Some say that this was also Rabbi Lazar. Come and see that Hashem's attributes are not like the way that people act. By people, the people that are high up there, the people that are chashiv, they hang out, they fraternize with other people that are high on their level. But someone who's on a high level doesn't talk to those that are on a low level. Right? The big millionaires aren't talking to the homeless people. Homeless people hang out with homeless people, and millionaires hang out with millionaires. But the Eibishter Einokein is not like this. Who Gavoya, he is high up there, and he goes down and talks to and sees the lowliest of people. Shenamar, like it says in the pasuk in Tehillim in Perek Kuf Ches, Kiram Hashem is high up, the Shafal Yira, and he sees the lowly one, the humble people. Amar Rav Tista said, some say that this was Marukva. Any person that is arrogant, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibishter says, me and him are not able to live together in the world. Shenamar, like it says in the pasuk in Tehillim Perek Kuf Aleph, those that slander on their friends in secret, him I will destroy. Someone who has high eyes, his eyes are looking up because he thinks he's so cool. And someone who has this broad heart, someone who's an arrogant person, him I cannot bear. So I'll take you don't read it. Him I cannot bear. With him I cannot bear. I can't stand to live together with him in the world. Some say that this pasuk is Amasafri Lashon Hara, is about people that are speaking Lashon Hara. Like the pasuk begins, those that slander their friends in secret, him I will destroy. And they darshan the end of the pasuk, Itoi, Lo yuchal to the beginning of the pasuk that about people that are slandering on their fellows. Okay. Omar Rabbi Alexandri. Rabbi Alexandri said like this: Kol adam sheish begas ruach, any person that is arrogant, afilu ruach kima, even the smallest of winds, a small a small blow from the wind, the charta will agitate him. Shenemar, like it says in the pasuk, v'rashoim kayom nigrash. The wicked are disturbed like a disturbed sea, like like a stormy sea. That's what the Rishonim are like. They're being washed away like a stormy sea. Umayam, just and the ocean, sheyesh by kama reviyos, which has tons of water. It has many reviuses of water. A revius is a fourth of a loig. It's a certain measurement. I think like 3 to 5 ounces or something. So it has many of those measurements. Ruach kima echarta, and a small little wind can make it move. Adam, a person in by other revius achas that only has one revius of blood, right? She'in by revius. She'in by ella revius achas. He only has one revius of blood. I think Rashi says that there's a halacha of Sinai that the least amount of blood that a person can survive on is a revius of blood. So halachas kama v'kama. So how much more so he's going to be disturbed by the wind. So what do we mean? What do we mean that we're talking about that a haughty person is going to be disturbed by a little wind? Someone who thinks that he's the greatest and that all of his accomplishments come from himself. So a little bit of punishment, a little bit of things going the wrong way in his life, he's going to get all bent out of shape. He's going to be like, "How are you talking? What's going on?" He's going to end up leading him to apostasy, right? Because he thinks, how is it possible that such a thing could happen to me? Even the small little thing. Someone who's humble recognizes that all the things that happen to him are really from the Eibush there, and it could be that they're punishments for different sins that he has to get rid of, different cleansing that he has to do. But that's the Indian, that someone who's haughty, that thinks that everything depends on him. So even a little bit of something going the wrong way bends him all out of shape. Good, and that's like the ocean. Next, Amar Rav Chia bar Rashi Amar Rav. Chia bar Rashi said, Rav Chia bar Rashi said in the name of Rav, Talmid Chacham, someone who is a Torah scholar, he has to have an eighth of arrogance. Why? Because someone who's a Torah scholar, so he's not allowed to be a Baal Gaiva, obviously. We just read all these terrible things about Baal Gaiva, but he has to have this little tiny bit of arrogance because, and not for himself, but for the Torah that he represents. Because if he would be totally, humble without any limit, so he wouldn't be able to enforce what the Torah says. He wouldn't have the courage to tell people what to do and how to live their lives. Since he's a Talmid Chacham, he has to have this little bit of this eighth of an eighth, which is 1/64th, I think, of arrogance for the kavod of the Torah. The son of Rabbi Yeshua said, that this 64th of arrogance, it crowns him like the chaff crowns the wheat. So it's a little tiny thing, but the wheat stalk isn't complete without it. So too, the Talmid Chacham has to have this little thing. Amar Rava said, Bishamta the Ispe, someone that has arrogance should be excommunicated, or Bishamta the Leispe. And someone that doesn't have arrogance should also be excommunicated. He's trying to bring out that there's this very delicate balance that a Talmid Chacham has to have, that he's not arrogant at all, but he has this Shmina Shebeshminis, this little tiny amount of arrogance for the kavod of the Torah. Amar Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak said, and this is Taka, how the halacha is paskin, Lo Mino V'Lo Miktsasa. Not from it, not from arrogance, and not from even a little bit of it. We should have no arrogance whatsoever. Not even the Shmina Shebeshminis. Mi zuter d'chsiv be'tayavas Hashem kol ba'alev. Are we making? Are we? Is it a small thing? This that it says in the pasuk in Mishlei, like we quoted yesterday, that any person that has this haughty heart is disgusted. Hashem is disgusted by it, right? So obviously it's this terrible thing, and we can't even get even a little bit involved with it, because once a person has a Shmina Shebeshminis, it's very easy to accidentally go a little bit above the shear, and that's not allowed. Okay. Continues the Gemara. Amar Chizkiya said, in tefillah shalom nishmas, a person's tefillah is not heard unless he makes his heart like flesh, like meat, meaning he doesn't have a hard heart. He has a soft heart, which is an expression of humility. Shneimar, like it says in the pasuk in the end of Yeshaya, it will be that every single month on Rosh Chodesh, Shabbos, Shabbat, V'Gomer, Yovei Kol Basar Lishtachavos V'Gomer. Every single every meat, every person, but he uses the word meat. The word flesh will come to bow down to the Eibishter, and the Eibishter is bringing out over there. Yeshua is bringing out that I'm going to listen to the tefillah of someone who has a fleshy heart, someone who has a soft heart. Amar Reb Zera says, Basar, when it comes to Basar to flesh, Ksiv Beiv Nirpa, the Torah says that he will be healed. Right there. Adam likes Ksiv Beiv Nirpa, but when it comes to a person, the Adam, it doesn't say that he will be healed, meaning that a person should be Basar, a person should be flesh, a person should have a soft heart and be humble. If you look in Rashi, so what's the Gemara talking about? The Gemara is talking about a Parshas Tazria, where it says Adam ki ba'ar when a person is going to have tzaras, and it says again neged tzaras ki Adam. Well, there it just talks about the halachas of tzaras. It doesn't talk about him healing. But once the Torah calls a person basar, flesh, there it says basar ki ba'iroi shtin ki ba'iroi shtin v'nirpa. He's going to be healed. So a person who's basar, someone who's humble, is going to be able to be healed. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, 2 lines from the bottom of the Amud. Amar Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Yochanan Adam. The word Adam, person, is a Rashi Tevis for Efer Dam Mara. Afer is ashes or dust. Dam is blood. Mara is the gallbladder. It's the part of the body that dictates how much moisture goes to all the different parts of the body. And also, it could make a person very sick. You know, when someone eats a little bit too much or whatever, different things. A lot of sickness comes from the Mara. So meaning that it's coming to teach us that life is very fleeting, and that we shouldn't have too much confidence meaning that we shouldn't get haughty, we shouldn't get arrogant, because Adam itself is just a composition of Efer, Dam, and Mara. These very physical things. Basar, flesh, is a Rashi Tevis for Busha Srucha Rima. Embarrassment, shame. Srucha is spoil, and Rima is the bugs that eat a person after he dies. Meaning that when Basar, you should know that after a person dies, he's going to be embarrassing and all, spoiled. Igad Amri, and some say that don't read it Busha Srucha Rima, read it Sha'oil. Busha Sha'oil Rima, D'chsiv B'shin, because Basar is spelled with a sin, and Srucha is with a Samach, Sha'oil is with a Shin. So Sha'oil means a grave. So Busha is embarrassment, grave, and this Rima bugs that eat the person after he dies. Right, so what's it coming to say? It's coming to give you a perspective on how a person should live his life. That he should know that after he dies, he's going to be in the grave. It's going to be embarrassing, and he's going to be spoiling and with worms eating his body. So that reminds you not to get too arrogant in this world. Okay. Ravashi says, any person that has arrogance, the soif nifchas, in the end, he's going to be lowered down. Like it says in the pasuk, turning Talmud Beis, v'laseis v'lasapachas. This is the pasuk of Parshas Mitzorah that we're talking. Zois Torah Tzaras, Zois HaTorah L'chol Nega Tzaras V'lanosek L'Tzaras, everything V'laseis V'lasapachas. And this is the Torah. This is the laws of the Se'es and the Sapachas. Se'es and Sapachas are two kinds of Tzaras, two different kinds of white in the person's skin, the two kinds of Negoim. And it says Se'es and Sapachas. Se'es means to be lifted up. Remember, like it says in the pasuk in Yeshayim Parak Beis, all the high mountains and all of the valleys that are lifted up. Nisois means lifted up. So Se'es means lifted up. Ve'en sapachas, and the word sapachas means elat tefillah. It means sort of lower down. It means like a tuffle means that the person is not the main thing. He's subservient to something else. Remember, like it says in the pasuk in Shmuel Aleph, the story of Eliakai and his sons. They were acting bad, and he didn't rebuke them. And Hashem told Eli that he's going to take away the Kahuna Gedolah, the high priesthood, from his family. And in the end, his descendants are going to say, please attach me to one of these Kohanim families in order that I can eat some of the holy bread. Meaning they're gonna be depleted. They're going to be lowered down. So it says that someone who's high up, someone who's haughty, who's arrogant, is going to end up being lowered down. Okay. Rabbi Shua ben Levi says, Rabbi Shua ben Levi, we're on the 5th line from the top of the Yamad. Come and see. How great are those that have a low spirit before Hashem? At the time that the Beis Hamikdash existed, if a person brought a carbon oila, the burnt offering, so he has the reward for a burnt offering. That's what he brought. Mincha, if he brought the meal offering, the carbon mincha, he has the reward for bringing a carbon mincha. Someone who has a low spirit, someone who's humble, the Torah considers it as if you brought all the carbonis. Remember, like it says in Tehillim, Perek Nun Aleph, Zivchei lekim ruach nishbara. The offerings of God, the sacrifices to the Eibishter, are a ruach nishbara, or a broken spirit. V'lo and not only that, she'ein, yeah, and why is it all the karbanis? Because zivchei kol azbachim b'mashma. It doesn't. It's not just one sacrifice; it's all the sacrifices together. Zivchei lashon rabim. And not only that, someone who's humble, his tefillah is not disgusted. Hashem always accepts his davenings. Remember, like it says in the pasuk, someone who has a broken and crushed heart, Hashem, you will not despise him. Rabbi Shimon Levi said, someone who's measuring his ways, someone who's introspective and is always checking to his actions and he's examining himself. In this world, he's going to merit and see the salvation of the Eibishter. Like it says in the pasuk, he who places the path, I will show him the salvation of God. Don't read of V'sam derech that he places the path. V'sham derech that someone who evaluates, sham means to evaluate, shuma, that he's evaluating his ways. He's always being introspective and seeing how he could grow. He will see the salvation of the Eibishter. Okay. In the middle of Hey Amud Beis, we're going back to the Mishnah. We said in the Mishnah, how do you warn her? So let's look at the Mishnah for a second. Beis, Daf Beis. We said, how do you warn her? You say in front of two witnesses, don't speak to so and so. And she spoke to him. So she's still allowed to be with her husband. She's allowed to eat truma. If they were secluded, then she's not allowed. The way the Mishnah said it is that the Mishnah said that he warned her not to speak to so and so. Then it says that she spoke to him, so she's still allowed to eat truma. She's still allowed to be with her husband. However, if she secluded herself, then not. So what's going on? The Mishnah is a little bit inconsistent. So Hagufa Kasha, the Mishnah is a shaila itself. Amrat, you said in the beginning, Amar lo b'fnei shnayim al tadabri mishpleni. You said in the beginning that the guy says to his wife, don't speak to so and so. Alma. So it comes out that dibur stirahu, that speaking is the same as seclusion. That if she would go and speak to the guy, then that would be a problem, and she would become a Sotah. But then the Mishnah continued, Dibra imay, if she taka spoke to him, so adayin mutaris lebesa. She's still allowed to be with her husband, she's allowed to eat truma if she's married to a kohen. So alma dibur like klumhu. So it comes out that dibur, that speaking to the guy is nothing. Right? So why in the beginning is the Mishnah saying that the guy says to her, don't speak to so and so? Abaye says, you have to read the Mishnah like this. Al tadabri v'dibra, if the guy says to his wife, don't speak to so and so, and then she taka spoke to him, or he says, Al tadabri, don't speak to so and so v'nistera, and she secluded herself with him. Klum, right? Or he says, Al tisteri, don't seclude yourself with so and so, and she spoke to him in all these three cases. If one of the things that happened, right? You have the warning, and you have the actual action that she did. So if either the warning was about speaking and the action was seclusion, or whether the warning was about seclusion and the action was speaking, or if both of them were speaking, so says says Abaye. Adayin mutaris lebesa, she's still allowed to be with her husband. The mutaris lachal b'truma, she can eat truma if she's married to a kohen. However, nishmasa ima the beisa seiser v'shasa kidei tuma, if he warned her not to seclude herself with the guy, and then she secluded herself, and they stayed there the amount of time it takes to have the relation, kidei tuma, the amount of time of defilement that we learned yesterday. Asura lebesa, she's not allowed to be with her husband. V'asura lachal b'truma, and she's not allowed to eat truma if she is married to a kohen. Okay, continued the Mishnah that if she becomes a Sotah. A Sotah suffix, she becomes this Sotah that we don't know. We have the doubt, so we have to bring her to the Beis Hamikdash. But before she was able to drink the water, the husband died, so the Mishnah said that she does chalitza and she does not do yibum. So the Mishnah is referring to a case where the couple didn't have any children. And the Torah says that if man and woman are married without any children, and then the husband dies, so there's a mitzvah for the brother of the husband, the woman's brother-in-law, to marry her. It's called yibum. And if they don't want to marry each other, and the reason is, to perpetuate the legacy of the brother, right? That they're going to have kids, and the kids will be the neshamas of the kids are connected also to the father that passed away, right? To the first husband. But if the husband or if the brother-in-law or the woman don't want to get married, so they can do chalitza, which means that there's a ceremony that happens that he wears these special leather shoes, and she takes off the shoe in front of a bezdin, and she spits in front of him, and she says psukim, and this is called chalitza, and this breaks the zika, the connection between her and the brother-in-law, and then she's able to marry whoever she wants. So we said that if the woman, if the man dies before the girl was able to drink the Sotah water, so she does chalitza, but she can't do yibum. Amai Tisyabu B'nami Yavume. The Gemara asks why. Why can't she do Yibum? She should be able to do Yibum also. If she could do Chalitza, I mean she could do Yibum. Right? What's the problem? Why wouldn't she be allowed to do Yibum? So Amar Rav Yosef says, Rav Yosef, Amar Kro, the pasuk says in Parshas Kiseitze about divorce. V'yatzami beisoy v'holcha v'yisoli shacher. So the full pasuk is when a man and a woman get married, and the man doesn't like her anymore. Ki matzaba ervas davar, because he found some adultery. Either she committed adultery on him, or he suspects her. So the Torah says that he could divorce her, and he divorces her. And he writes a get because of the Sefer Christos, he gives it to her, and he sends her out of his house. And then the pasuk says, "V'yatami beisai," she goes out of his house, and she could go and marry someone else, a different man, ish achar, a different man. So it says the Gemara that ish achar, the pasuk says she can marry a different man. Why does the Torah have to say ish achar? The Torah could just say, and she goes out of his house and she can marry whoever she wants. Why does it have to say ish achar to a different man? The words are a little bit extra. It's a little bit strange the way it says it. So the Gemara says that it's the Isha Acher. She can only marry someone else, below the Yavam. The Torah is hinting to you that she's not able to marry the Yavam if she was divorced. Meaning, if she, in our case, the husband died. But if she was in the state of a Sotah, right? The pasuk is talking about divorce, where the husband's alive. So, but the Gemara is saying that the Torah is hinting to this case by saying the Isha Acher, that if the husband Taka died and they weren't able to get divorced, but he suspected her so far of being a Sotah, of cheating on him, so she's not able to marry the Yavam, she should marry someone else. So Amar Le Abaye says, Abaye, Elamayata, if you're going to say that the Torah excludes Yibum, the Torah says that they're not allowed to get married. So then Chalitza, Nami Leitiboye, she shouldn't need to do Chalitza either. There's a lot of cases where you're not able to do Yibum, but in those cases you shouldn't do Chalitza either. Like for example, if the brother-in-law is the girl's father, right? Let's say a guy married his niece, and then the guy died. So the girl's brother-in-law, the Yavam, is going to be her father. So you're not allowed to do Yibum because she can't marry her father, and since you're not allowed to do Yibum, you can't do Chalitza either. You don't do Chalitza. So why in this case, if the Torah is saying that you don't do Yibum, so why should you have to do Chalitza? So says the Gemara, Amar Le Abaye, said Abaye. Oh, sorry. Amar Le, so Rav Yosef said back to Abaye, Ilu ise lebal. Milei Baya get, if the husband would have been alive now. So the Torah doesn't say that she just goes out from his house without anything. No, she would still need a get, meaning there's still one step between her and marrying someone else, her being able to marry whoever she wants. If the husband would have been alive, she would have needed a get, right, in order to be able to marry anyone else. So too, after the husband dies, so she still has this step that she needs to get chalitza, symbolic of the get that she would have needed to get if her husband was alive. Right? There's still this one step that has to happen between her leaving the rishus of her husband and being able to marry someone else. So ashtanami tibai chalitza. So too, in place of the get, she needs to get chalitza, even though she's not able to do yibum. V'yis the amri, some say differently. Amar Rav Yosef said, Rahman Amar v'yatzami beisay. Why can't she do yibum? Because it says Rav Yosef, because the Torah says v'yatzami beisay. She goes out of his house v'holcha beisay lishacher, and she goes and she marries someone else. Delay litasre, delay listere the beisay. V'at amrat tisyavim nami avume. Why does the Torah say that she should get divorced? Because the Torah doesn't want her to destroy her house. If the wife is doing adultery, we learned earlier in the Masechta that if there's adultery happening in the family, so the house is going to be destroyed. So the man divorces his wife in order that his house shouldn't be destroyed. And now you're going to tell me that she should do yibum, that the Torah is going to say that it's a mitzvah for the brother-in-law to marry her so that she could destroy another house. So Amar Le Abaye, so then Abaye said back to that, Elamayata, if you're going to say that she's not able to do Yibum because we don't want her to destroy the Yavam's house, she shouldn't marry anyone either. She shouldn't marry anyone, right? If you're saying that we're worried that she's going to destroy the Yavam's house, so the Yavam shouldn't marry her, so why does the Torah allow a Sotah whose husband died to marry anyone? She's going to destroy the house. So Amar Le, turning to Davav, Rav Yosef said back to Abaye, Mikar, Aminir Bal Korche. If the husband died and she marries the Yavam, there it's mandated by the Torah. The Torah says that they should get married to each other. The Torah is not going to say them to get married if the Torah knows that she's going to destroy the house. But if the Yavam doesn't marry her, if someone else marries her, so it's not mandated by the Torah. It's the guy's own choice. The guy knows that she was a Sotah before her husband dies. He knows that her husband died, and he knows that he's going to marry her, and he has this risk that she's going to destroy the home with adultery. He knows, the nature of this woman. But it's his choice. So if he wants to do it, the Torah allows him to do it. Right? The Torah is saying, the Torah, we're not recommending it, but the guy's able to do it. However, in the case of the Yavam, it would be Torah mandated that it's a mitzvah for him to marry her. The Torah can't make a mitzvah on a guy to marry this woman if she has this nature of adultery. And we're going to continue tomorrow. We're going to have a shir before Yom Tov, 2:00. And everyone should have a wonderful night, have a wonderful day.